I want to talk about Brother Malcolm X, el-hajj Malik el-shabazz, Malcolm X. The reason I want to talk about him, obviously, but besides today, that it was his birthday. He was born May 19th, 1925, born as Malcolm Little. Malcolm Little was his given name. He converted to the Nation of Islam, and they gave him the name of Malcolm X, el-hajj Malik el-shabazz. Malcolm has been, I think, one of the most influential people in my life, period, just across the board. Between Malcolm and James Baldwin, the two of them have really shaped me and my thinking. And it's interesting that a lot of people reject Malcolm because of his militancy, but they really neglected to understand the cause and the root source of his militancy. And what fascinates me about him, besides his rhetorical prowess, because Malcolm was a speaker extraordinaire, right? I can listen to his speeches for hours on end. Besides his rhetorical prowess, was his willingness to self-examine and to have his own personal dialectic, where you can see his growth. You can see the arc of his character development, for lack of a better phrase, and where he started off in one place, but he wasn't afraid to challenge his own fundamental beliefs, the things that he believed all of his life, and then the things he believed since he joined the Nation of Islam. He was willing to challenge all of that because he found a new, greater knowledge, a knowledge of self and the knowledge of his place in this universe. And he was able to communicate that to so many people. And when I listen to him, it just forges, it causes the synapses in my brain to fire, both from a militancy perspective, but also from a human perspective, from a humanist perspective, the ability to see the humanity in each other, no matter how angry we may be deep down, no matter how we have been oppressed and challenged. Malcolm was able to see the greater humanity, and he grew into that. And that's something that we don't see in many people. Most people remain static after a certain period in their life. But Malcolm kept growing after his journey to Mecca, his pilgrimage to Mecca. He was able to completely transform his perspective of the world. And so as I listen to him speak, he's able to communicate to me in a way that reminds me of, or not even reminds me, but teaches me of what it was to be proud and to be black, right? Despite the self-hatred that many of us are born with, and maybe born with is the wrong phrase, but we're born into this self-hatred. And so Malcolm was this guy who not only had this rhetorical skill set where he could so easily explain something with 140 characters, right? He was able to succinctly hit the issue on the head, and just with 10 words, he could cause a revelation and a revolution in your mind. And this was who Malcolm was. And to people who were born into this oppressive society and they felt as though they hated themselves, Malcolm said to them, he said, "Who taught you to hate yourself? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin? Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your heads to the sole of your feet?" And then he questioned and said, "Before you come asking me about whether or not we teach hate, ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God made you?" Malcolm had a way of speaking directly to the heart of the issue of people who were broken. But then he also spoke directly to the heart of the issue of the system that was doing the breaking. Malcolm was the one who saw the role of the media long before this modern day analysis that said before 2016, he said exactly what we would be seeing in 2016. He said, if you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. This was Brother Malcolm. And this is why he's been so influential. And this is why we must honor him. And he understood the political spin that we're fighting against right now. He called a particular politician out of Los Angeles. He said that this politician, Mayor Sam Yorty, is a professional liar who has mastered the art of using half-truths. Brother Malcolm, el-hajj, Malik el-shabazz. And I think the best tribute to Malcolm are his own words, but also the words of Ossie Davis, who eulogized him. He said, there will be those who consider it their duty to tell us to revile him, to flee, even from the presence of his memory, to save ourselves by writing him out the history books of our turbulent times. Many will ask what we find to honor in this stormy, controversial, and bold young captain. And we will answer them and say, did you ever talk to Brother Malcolm? Did you ever touch him or have him smile at you? Did you ever really listen to him? Because if you did, you would know him. And if you knew him, you would understand why we must honor him.
We declare our right on this earth to be a man, to be a human being, to be respected as a human being, to be given the rights of a human being in this society, on this earth, in this day, which we intend to bring into existence by any means necessary.